We are the kind of people that will not reveal our medical status. It doesn't matter whether we're vaccinated or unvaccinated. That is not the issue. What matters is whether we're broke or we're solvent as a council. What matters is whether we can drink the water or we can't. And presently we can't. What matters is whether you can drive on the roads or you feel like you should be in a tank. What matters is the ability to walk into a pool or a library or down the street and not be fearful of people walking towards you, judging you. What matters is community. And if for 30 seconds, people can just stop and think, what is community? We used to have it. We need to bring it back.
Excited to speak to Andrew Thaler, who's running for the mayor of the Snowy Manar Regional Council. So we really need to change politics from the bottom all the way to the top, which includes councils. So I'm really excited to talk to you, Andrew. Thanks for coming on. And why are you running for council?
Well, you just said it, Monica, and thank you for the chance to chat. So you're in Victoria, we're in New South Wales. You've got a Labor state, we've got a national Liberal state. And yet they're both mad. They are not acting in the interests of the people. So we need to fight, not just at a federal level or just at the state level. We've got to start that fight quite often where we're most comfortable, which is our local level. And so I've spearheaded a team, even though I'm not on the top of the list, as it were, because I'm making sure that I bring other people in with me. We want to take back control of our council and bring it back to us, the people who live here.
That is so good, because before COVID, I personally had no idea who was in council, or I don't even know if I voted, or I don't even know. To be honest, I just didn't care. So what is the message now that politics has become a dinner conversation for everyone? How would you encourage younger people to care about local council politics?
Well, with the advent of working from home and Zoom, such as we are now, we've also got councils live streaming or broadcasting their council meetings. So you can actually watch it at home. You don't have to go and sit in the council. You can also watch them after the fact. You can watch the meetings on Fast Forward, and they quite often catalogue the meetings into the topics that match the business paper, so you can actually skip through. So the ability to follow what your council does has now been made more available to us, whereas not so many years ago, you would have to sit in the meeting and watch the whole 2, 3, 4, 5 hours of it. It was dreadful. And so nobody participated. Now we're changing that model, and we want to bring the participation alongside convenience. So driving, pop on your headphones, play the broadcast and listen to what was said, and then ring up your councillors, send them an email, talk to your community.
Does that work though? I mean, like, we've done so many big email campaigns here in Victoria and all over Australia. Do you think councils are a bit different? Do they actually listen to some pressure from their community?
Yes, they do. Now, there's some people in my community that hate my guts because they know I make change. Mm-hmm. And yet the council listens to me. So I'm banned from our council because I used to go to the council meetings and ask questions that they didn't want to answer.
How dare you ask questions? Sorry.
It's actually a very powerful weapon. Yeah. A question is more powerful than a bullet. Mm-hmm. And so they banned me from the council meeting. So I get other people to go to the council meeting and ask questions which they don't want to answer. And then it becomes apparent that they're not answering the questions, which begets more questions. And you keep it sort of light and you keep it funny, and it starts a conversation in the street. So when people watch my videos, I always say, "G'day, shoppers." And I'm walking down the street and someone will go, "G'day, shopper." And immediately I know that person is a friend, not a foe. Mm-hmm. And I can stop comfortably and talk to them, or they want to stop and talk to me. And then the councillors ring me and we have long discussions about business paper agenda items. So, for example, we had an amalgamated council with 3. So the former Bombala Shire, which is right on the Victorian border, the former Snowy River Shire, which is right up in the New South Wales ski fields, and Cooma. And they are amalgamated and they're a mess, and they're broke and they're struggling, and everyone's sort of quite depressed. They had to redo the rates model. So we rewrote it. I worked with 2 other people and we just completely rewrote the rates model, presented it to council, council adopted it. So now we have a transparent, equitable rating model, first ever in New South Wales, probably the first in Australia. Now, I'm just one bloke, 5 kids in a small village, but if you want to do something, you just set your mind to it and you can.
That is really inspiring. And also, I think, you know, now more than ever, people actually do find themselves sitting on the couch watching live Parliament feeds. And it's quite hilarious, really, because it's the last thing we would have done before COVID. But I really think we do have a chance with council to start making change. And when is the council elections?
So our council elections are the 4th of December. Pre-poll started on Monday, yesterday, the 22nd of November. So we're right in the pointy bit at the very moment.
Are non-vaccinated people being turned away from going into venues to pre-vote?
This is becoming a very popular question on all the notice boards. And I have been told, and I have read from the Electoral Commission in New South Wales, that there will be no unvaccinated people turned away. And I've read the health directions. So I've read the health directions, and any activity that is part of a political process is not captured by the health directions. Those health directions are to produce a vaccination passport. So further to that, if the government or the council was to limit a vaccinated person's attendance at a polling booth, I'm pretty sure that would be in breach of nearly every constitutional protection that we have. That's interfering with the voter.
Oh, yeah, but it's happening. I can confirm and verify at least 2 stories of pre-polling for the Liberal Party. And it's the venue itself that turns them away, not the political candidate that they're voting for or against or whatever. So I'd keep your eye on that. It's the venue themselves that are making up these rules, because, you know, these poor businesses, they're so confused. The directions change every second day and they're like 80 pages long. How are they supposed to keep up to date? So they probably just think they're doing the right thing by checking everyone's vax passport, you know, coming through the door. So just keep an eye on that, because I don't want you to lose any votes.
No, so I've been comment bombing the council everywhere the council posts about pre-polling. I always comment and bomb and say vaccinated and unvaccinated are entitled to vote. If anybody has had a restriction or a limitation, I have told them, tell me, and we'll make a big noise of it. But I'm pretty well on top of these health orders, because I'm one of those idiots that reads them, all 80 something odd pages that change. My wife, she's been reading them too. Again, like you, Monica, she never would have read that shit in the past. It was never interesting. Now she's keeping an eye on it as part of a responsibility to our community.
It's crazy. Yeah.
It is crazy, and it's draining. It's fatiguing. I mean, it's not just elections. I got a mate that was nearly putting a rope around his neck because he just didn't think there was any future. He lost his marriage and he was being limited. He couldn't go to the gym, and he was locked down for 23 hours a day in a hot zone. And so I had to ring him every other day and just think of shit to talk about to try and keep him distracted and keep his spirits up. Like it's going to change. It's going to change. And that whole 2 weeks became 2 years. That's a lot of conversation, and that's draining. And, you know, I don't begrudge a minute of it, but it's hard work.
It's hard work. You're right. And that's why the victory is going to be that much sweeter, you know, because it's been hard. It's been hard on all of us. But hey, look at what you're doing. You're obviously picking your feet up and you're saying, I'm going to use this as an opportunity to try and help the local community. And then you can, you know, rise up from there. So if someone was in your area and they were figuring out who to vote for, let's say you had 30 seconds to convince them to vote for you, what would you say?
So there's 7 people that I've put on our ticket, and we are the kind of people that will not reveal our medical status. It doesn't matter whether we're vaccinated or unvaccinated. That is not the issue. What matters is whether we're broke or we're solvent as a council. What matters is whether we can drink the water or we can't. And presently we can't. What matters is whether you can drive on the roads or you feel like you should be in a tank. What matters is the ability to walk into a pool or a library or down the street and not be fearful of people walking towards you, judging you. What matters is community. And if for 30 seconds, people can just stop and think, what is community? We used to have it. We need to bring it back.
Yeah. We need to take away all the divisions, all the things keeping people apart. It's just not worth it. So,
well, we put so much effort in through the Mardi Gras in Sydney, all those years, all those men that were victimized and bashed and beaten up by the police because they were gay. They couldn't help being gay. And now we embrace them and they have this enormous spectacle, and they're respected and they're welcomed and they're cherished and they are a vibrant part of our community. Why have we suddenly gone back from that? We don't judge people from their skin, their ethnicity, their background, their disability. We don't do that. And yet suddenly we've erected this Boolean barrier. Are you vaccinated? Are you not vaccinated? If you're vaccinated, you're special, but only while you stay vaccinated. And if you miss out on being vaccinated, you're no longer special. And that's doing people's heads in. It's doing my head in. It's just wrong.
And even some people who got coerced to get vaccinated are feeling uncomfortable about participating in society because they know that such a big percentage of people can't. So it's a very strange time that will be written about in history, and hopefully we can, make our way out of it. Now, one more question about council is, if you were to convince someone to run for their local council, what would you say?
It's not as scary as it seems. There are a lot of barriers put in place to make it look like it's daunting, it's ugly, it's not fun. It is fun. You basically get to plug into your community and experience more of your community than you normally would. Yes, you've got to read a lot of paperwork, and yes, you've got to go to a meeting, but community service is rewarding, and community service is what we're here for. We're here not just to be selfish little individuals. I mean, my family, I have 5 children. What is my family of 5 children without a community for them to be in? So it's kind of a duty that we really need to look at. And again, I take people back to these people that don't like me, they're vaccinated, because I won't tell them what I am. Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. I'm saying it's not your business. If I was vaccinated and I suddenly said to them, oh yeah, I'm vaccinated, does that suddenly make me cool? Does that make them change their opinion immediately? Oh, I didn't like him yesterday, but I like him now. It's ridiculous. So that's what we're actually fighting. And it's a distraction. We've seen fuel, diesel, petrol go from $1 to $1.70 in 6 months. We're seeing America's inflation rate at 16%, climbing. Lumber, which is timber, up 400%. Bitcoin, 90,000 Australian dollars it hit last week or 2 weeks ago. Who would ever have thought? Now, there's a reason Bitcoin hit 90,000, and that's because people don't believe in the traditional systems. So if we can't embrace change, then we're kind of buggered. And I go back to your question, the best place to start change is in your local community. You change within yourself, you change within your family, you change within your street, you change within your town, you change within your council, and you drag the state government along with you.
Yeah. You've got to start somewhere. So start local.
But why not? Lots of people starting everywhere at the same time going to have much more effect than lots of people throwing their energies at a state government that won't listen.
And do you know, oh, sorry. Yeah, I agree. Do you know other great candidates in other regions that are running for council?
I do. So there's a group G over in Wagga. My good mate, Richard Foley, is number 2 on the ticket there underneath the Wagga Sailing Commodore. So again, they're just getting up with a very simple message saying, clean out council.
Yeah.
Clean out the developers that are in there making themselves rich with favourable zoning decisions. Richard's a plasterer. He's just a tradie like me. And yet he's going to give his time to stand up and fight. There are lots of people.
That's awesome. If you can get me in touch with them, I would love to do interviews like this with them as well. And I'll send it to the local database in their area to try and help people vote for them. Yep. All right. So that'll be awesome. Because I'm not in New South Wales, it's hard for me to keep on top of everything. But if I just interview someone, then I can share the word, and that's me doing my bit, which is what I can do. And so we're winding up now. Is there like a finishing message you'd like to give to the people watching, whether it's related to council or not?
A closing message that I'd like to share with everybody is who are we and where are we going? So here in the Snowy Mountains, we want to be a tourist town. You'd like to think the tourists want to come here and see us as a happy people. At the moment, we're not. We can't drink the water. The roads are dangerous. The council is broke and we're not telling the truth. If we turn that around, we then become a more comfortable tourist destination. We need to look out for each other. I mean, the army is one of those classic beasts where it only moves as fast as its slowest soldier. You know, we look after everybody in our community and bring them along with us. Mm-hmm. And we've forgotten that. So I reject the medical apartheid. And I get a lot of flack for saying that word. But apartheid means apartness. We cannot live with an apartness in our communities. It's just not working. If you're going to start, why not now? Don't put it till tomorrow, because tomorrow could be too late.
That is a perfect lasting message. Thank you so much for your time. And I hope I wish you the best of luck in the upcoming election. You better let me know how you go.
Oh, of course I will. I thank you again. It's going to actually, I call it leverage. So you'll leverage the thinking through all the people that are wondering about standing in elections. So whether it's Queensland or Victoria, it does work.
Yeah,
it does work.
Yeah, last year we did shake up councils quite a bit. I don't know exactly how well we did, but you know, we'll be more organised for the next one. So I didn't even know that New South Wales was going through council elections. So I'm so glad to know, because now I really want to get some interviews around New South Wales. So if you can help me out, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I'll flick you a couple of links,
awesome.
And I've got your PA's email, so I'll flick you a couple of. So yeah, Richard Foley in Wagga, and the thing with him, he's a plasterer. He just got ripped off by the state government, where they employ a builder to build community housing, and the builder then doesn't pay the contractors and goes bankrupt and reopens again, phoenixing. That's the National Party, and that's a big shit stink down there at the moment, blowing up. Fantastic. Just put a medical apartheid in, and then make people go broke. It's perfect. That's what they do. It's the oh look, there's a lot more into it. Yeah, let's not go into construction issues, because I know that there's a lot of problems there. Thanks so much for your time. It's the National Party doling out contracts. I mean, these companies are all friends of the National Party, and that's what we're trying to dismantle. So part of your target is those power structures. And again, the same thing with Victoria, with Labor. Target the power structures through the contracting industry, the building industry. And the fact that there's companies, the fact that there's companies willing to take these dirty deals, that's what bothers me the most. I mean, the government is corrupt, obviously, but the fact that people are happy to take a contract that they're taking 4 times what it's worth, they do a bad job, and then it's a pretty big mess. So there's another little thought I'll leave you on this one. You've been to Bali? Yeah. Indonesia? Mm-hmm. Corruption is available from the poorest Java man. Java man is the guy that picks up the rubbish, right? The poorest man in the street can pay a couple of rupees to get himself out of the shit with a local cop, right up to the prime minister of this. So the reason why Indonesia or Bali succeeds with an endemic corruption is that corruption is available from the lowest caste to the highest caste. The reason why Australia fails and struggles with its corruption, in my view, is because the corruption is only available to the political class and above. You're actually right. Like, it would never even cross my mind to try to pay off a police officer for a fine. Like, it's not in our culture. No, but it is at the political class and higher. That is the culture. Absolutely. We're seeing that. And, you know, with Victoria right now, we're just basically living in limbo, not knowing if this bill's going to go through. And we're wondering what kind of deals are being made behind closed doors. And we all know they're being made. We just don't know what they are. It's terribly disconcerting. Well, what about that Animal Justice Party guy's daughter with the fake attack news stories? I mean, I know. 3 hours later, they rectified the story, but the damage is already done, you know, and they know that. So
the mainstream media, they're happy to lie or jump to conclusions because the damage is done. And then they say, oh, sorry about that. But no one sees the sorry. They only see the first story anyway. So anyway, it's a mess. It's a mess everywhere. But look, let's finish this interview and maybe we'll have a different one where we go more into politics.
No, that's fine. And the only other thing I said, even with Aussie Cossack, is that it is through citizen, and you can capture this bit, but it is through the actions of citizen journalists such as yourself, Monica, Aussie Cossack up in Sydney, Rukshan. It's through those citizen journalists taking the risk to themselves to tell the true story that people are awakening.
I hope you're right. And yeah, collectively, I think all of those people are doing a great job. So thanks for saying.
Well, they are. No worries. And thank you too, Monica. I appreciate it.